Hey everybody, how's it going? Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be talking about silver stacking, and specifically the best types of silver to stack or the best denominations to stack once you actually get to owning some silver, because I think that not all silver is created equal. Some of it is definitely better for certain purposes while other is better for other ones, and we're just going to kind of do a free form video, more of a conversation where I just kind of talk, give my thoughts, and again, that main theme is going to be the best denominations to stack with. So the first is I'll just kind of go through it. The best kind of types of silver, I would say, is U.S. constitutional silver, bullion coins. So government bullion coins is kind of what I like to do it, but they're kind of round shaped, something that might look like that. And then we've also got silver bars. So there's, again, different denominations are better. I think that we'll just start with some of the coins. So right here, I have a bunch of Walking Liberty half dollars. There's a little bit of premium on those. And obviously the name of the game when you're coming at it from a stacking perspective is to keep the amount of silver that you're purchasing low in terms of premiums, because you want to get as much of the silver as you can without paying premiums. But you also want to remember when you go back to sell that it's not, not every type of silver is going to be treated the same by coin shops or by other people. There's some that's more desirable than others. And I think with coins, the best denominations to stack would be either dimes. I think dimes is the best. And then after that, I would go for quarters. Now, these coins are a little bit better. Barber quarters and Mercury dimes certainly considered kind of a higher tier than the average, but you can just kind of start with some Roosevelt silver, some Washington silver. That's going to be pretty cheap, and you're pretty much just paying for the silver value there. It's generally not traded at the kinds of multiples that the American Silver Eagles are. Now, just kind of as a side shout out, this was from our coin shop. We just got this in, and I was like, yeah, we got to include that in some type of video. It's like a 1977 monster box out of Mexico, 500 rounds of silver. I don't know exactly how many ounces are there. It's all 72%, but just a super cool, unique item that I wanted to kind of show off today. But yeah, with this stuff, junk silver is what it's called, and it just trades really reliably. Now, the reason that you want to stick with something like dimes, quarters are pretty good, but dimes are the best is because it's infinitely malleable. So here, if you have, or it's not infinitely, but you know what I'm talking about. You have a silver half dollar like this, or you have 5 dimes, and let me just get them quickly counted out. But say you want to, for whatever purposes, split it up, there's not going to be a difference if you can, you can use one of these dimes and still have 4. Whereas if you only have half dollars, you're going to need to be making larger purchases. And it's just like, it's not going to be a difference in price to purchase the half dollars versus the dimes or the quarters. So I don't think that there's much of a reason to go for a bigger denomination when you can kind of keep it more simple and basic by just purchasing dimes. And quarters kind of go along with that. There's not too many situations where I think you are seeing people move towards the dimes versus a quarter, but I think the half dollar is significant enough over the dime where I'd kind of avoid it. And at this point, I do want to talk about 40% or 35% silver. So for those of you that don't know, 65 to 70, those years, 1965 to 1970, they made 40% silver half dollars. And those, people don't really want 40% silver. That's just kind of a trend that I've seen. The high percentage, 90%, is kind of easy to think about. And I just wouldn't recommend purchasing that, because coin shops definitely pay a lot worse, in my experience, than just other people for 40% versus 90%. And it's not like it's super challenging to purchase the 90%. So that's just something I'd keep in mind there. Same thing goes for the war nickels made from 42 to 45 that are 35% silver. It's just a low percentage of silver. Why kind of have it so diluted when you could have just 90%? That's not super challenging to come by. And that also goes, at this point, I'll mention foreign coins. You probably saw them before when I moved the camera, but like right here, it's a cool Russian 5 kopeck coin, 1888. But I think that's like a 50% silver coin. A lot of the silver from around the world, people just don't know what percentage it is. Like this Mexican coinage, really cool, but people don't really want to be looking at 72% when they could have, something that's 99.9%. I'm just basically saying that you want to get stuff that's recognizable, and, all sorts of constitutional or American Silver Eagles, Canadian Maple Leafs is good. I mean, even you look at Canadian quarters, I've been dealing a little bit with those recently. People don't really want to pay much over spot, but they're more than happy to pay well over spot for the American 90% kind of in the current times that we're in. So, it's just, again, a testament to that world coinage is not that desirable. You want to keep your stacking basic. Of course, you can purchase silver world coins, but at that point, you're not buying for the silver. You're kind of buying with some collecting, some numismatic appreciation involved. I love world silver coins. I'm just saying, don't do it when that's your silver stacking is your objective. Okay, so after that, we do have to talk about the bullion. First, a quick shout out to the Mexican Mint, because they found some really efficient packaging. They just kind of rolled them up like this, and instead of having a massive monster box, you have kind of the same amount of surface area or volume of silver in a much smaller box. So props to them on that. But what I would like to say is, when you're purchasing government rounds, stick to American Silver Eagles or Canadian Maple Leaves. The premiums can be a little bit crazy. For a long time, it was like $3 over. And I was like, yeah, you know what? You're paying $3 over, but you're going to recoup that pretty good when you go back to a coin shop to sell it, if, you can present that what you're talking about. And sure enough, at the peak of like coronavirus problems, we were at like $10 over was the mark. I mean, it was unbelievable. And that's what I had said. People were commenting on that video, you don't know what you're talking about. But I'd made it well before the coronavirus crisis, so I was pretty happy that I kind of nailed that. What I'm saying is, this is going to cost a little bit more, but you'll probably recoup it pretty decently. I'd say anything $5 or over, even $4 is a little bit of a stretch, but if silver's at $20 an ounce and you can find them at $22.50, $23, you can probably, when you go to sell, it's not like that silver premium will have evaporated. So it's just something to think about. Again, the Canadian Maple Leaf, also a good candidate. But then you have things like Philharmonics, Kookaburras, lots of different coins from around the world that don't have the same recognition. If you can get them at really low premium, that's great. If you can buy scrap silver from your neighbor's garage sale at 50% of spot, that's awesome. It's really just about how you source it. So if you're going to be paying up, you want to go towards, stuff that's really high quality, and the Eagles are definitely in that quality, while something like this, while it's an interesting item, the Mexican 72% silver rounds are not kind of the pinnacle of crazy cool numismatic items. After that, I don't have any examples of these around because we're sold out of them in the coin shop, but I'm talking about silver bars. That's a type of silver that people like. It can definitely get pretty low on the premiums, and you can just have a lot of it with you. I kind of prefer just having a bunch of constitutional silver around versus bars, but there is some appeal to it. People like silver bars. If that's the route that you want to go, I would recommend buying 10 and 100 ounce bars. I think 1 ounce bars, I've just seen premiums a little bit too high for my liking on those. And I think the advantage of a bar versus a coin is that you get to put more silver in it. So I would say 100 ounce is the best. Not everybody has, 100 times whatever the spot price of silver is to buy bars with. So that's where I think 10 is kind of a good middle location. But when you get up to like 500 ounce bars, or even, 1,000 ounce, I'm trying to do the math in my head, but 16 times 31 is like 496. So, I mean, you don't want to be carrying around a 31 or a 62 pound bar if things are going south, or, even just in general. I feel like having the ability to split things up is so important. If you're the type of person who can pay up for huge amounts, to hold some of it in 100 ounce bars and then some of it in like constitutional silver, is probably a pretty good idea. That's kind of how I would work through it. If I like bars, again, I don't like bars. There's none in the video. We don't have them in the coin shop because some people do. But what I'm saying is you just want to keep on keeping those premiums low, but also being minded about how you'll go to sell them. Often the bars, they don't get as good money from a coin shop, but it's not going to be like a horrible deal because you probably shouldn't be paying up tons for bars. The other thing with like 1,000 ounces of silver is that, that's like a 17, 18, 19, I don't even know where silver is going to be by the time I release this video. It could be anywhere, but it's going to be many thousands of dollars. So you might even have to pay to get it checked or assayed. Like that's a lot of hoops that you will have to jump through when you go to sell it, where it's probably good to just have recognizable pre-65 constitutional junk silver. Like that's how I feel about it. And I'd be curious to see what you think, because the stacking community has a lot of good input, and I'm sometimes kind of different with my takes. But I think like even one last thing is like with this bullion stuff, you don't want to be buying 5-ounce bullion coins, America the Beautiful. You don't want to be buying half-ounce fractional stuff. Again, premiums, that's collector stuff. If you like collecting silver, that's different from owning silver. That's a whole different ball game. But you should really just stick with 1 ounce. That's kind of the sweet spot for third-party rounds, third-party silver, or government silver. And then if you want to go bigger, then I think it's a bar by a reputable company. Or, you know, again, the good thing about this junk or constitutional silver is you can have 1,000 ounces of constitutional silver, but you can still break it up into 1/13 of an ounce when you need to, you know, sell a dime or something like that. Whereas with that 1,000 ounce or even 100 ounce bar, you got to sell the whole thing when you want to. So there's a little bit of a disadvantage there, which is why I kind of say, you know, it's what's king is the constitutional plus maybe some American Silver Eagles. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'd recommend. Again, I know I kind of did an extra tangent at the end, but that's what I'm saying. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it from you. If you want to support my channel, sdbullion.com/TT. Order any silver from SD Bullion through that link. Has to be through my link by clicking on that. It doesn't have to be silver that's in my shop, but even just a very small order will mean a ton. They're doing a great deal for me where I can do quite well when people purchase using that link. So I'd appreciate you checking that out. And yeah, let me know again what you think about my comments. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more content, and get in touch with me or contact on treasuretown.yt.com, my website, my Facebook, TreasureTown, my Twitter, @treasuretown_YT, or my Instagram, @treasuretownyt. Looking forward to seeing you on some of my other videos.